Hey there, I'm Chase Sr. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now, and coming up, the Birds have tapped into the Australian pipeline once again by giving another rugby player a shot at making the roster. And since we're going international on today's Philadelphia Eagles now, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching today's Eagles now from? Let me know down in the comment section. And with that, g'day, mate. Let's start the show. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic day and week. Of course, you're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. Chase Sr. here with you, and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And I want to begin with this tweet from Lori Horesh, who I have spoken with a couple of times from ESPN Australia. We last connected last year when the Eagles signed another rugby player, Laiken Vakalahi, to the roster. He's a developmental player along this Eagles offensive line under legendary Eagles offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland. And he put this tweet out the other day that the Eagles have invited former Manly Sea Eagles under 21 jersey flag player Carsen Patu to rookie minicamp. The 6'1", 243-pound former rugby league front rower comes through Conquest athletic performance, who worked with Eagles practice squad player Laiken Vakalahi, who is a part of the Eagles International Pathway Program, a popular program utilized by NFL teams to try to incorporate athletes and players from all parts of the world to see what they can become as NFL players, and those players do not count against that team's 90-man roster. Of course, Eagles rookie minicamp did take place over the weekend. We put together a video taking a look at rookie minicamp winners and losers. It's up on the channel right now. And as I was searching the web, looking for some photos for that show, I came across this one. And to the left, number 59, you see this former rugby player from the great country of Australia, Carsen Patu, who the Eagles gave a tryout to as a linebacker, edge rusher. And I went back into the YouTube archives to take a look at some of his highlights from playing rugby. As you can see, a built athlete with a lot of size and a lot of physicality. I thought back to the 2018 NFL Draft when the Eagles took fellow Australian Jordan Mailata in the 7th round, and it was incredible to see Mailata at that size just running through arm tackles, carrying piles, running with physicality. And Patu is not that tall, but as you can see, he has an NFL build and a classic rugby player build where he is stocky and he is a loaded athlete. And so this is a player who, to Philadelphia, is bringing strength, speed, and power. At 6'1", 243 pounds, that would be good size for a linebacker. It's a little bit undersized for an edge rusher, regardless of if it's a normal defensive end in a 4-3 front or an outside linebacker in a 3-4. So if he's an edge rusher, he'd probably have to add a little bit of size and, of course, work on the technique of being an edge in the National Football League because it requires a lot of pass rushing moves, a pass rush planned, being able to time the snap at the line of scrimmage, being able to dip and have bend to try to get to the quarterback. It's a very nuanced position, and that's why at the NFL level, we see these freak athletes who don't have a pass rush plan, who might not have an arsenal of pass rush moves, struggle because they can't just rely on power. And so a long shot to make the roster, and we'll see if he's even included on the Eagles 90-man after rookie minicamp, but it's an intriguing addition, and it's intriguing by the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles are bringing in another player to see what he can become. A former rugby front rower, for those of you familiar with that sport. He played for the Manly Sea Eagles under 21 team, and he comes to America by way of Conquest athletic performance, as we mentioned just moments ago from that tweet from Horesh. And CAP also trained Laiken Vakalahi. I was taking a look at Patu's Instagram page, and if you're watching the show, congratulations to you for at least getting this opportunity. And here you can see to Patu's left is Laiken Vakalahi, who the Eagles added to the roster about a year ago at this point as an offensive tackle. Of note, during rookie minicamp, Vakalahi was obviously familiar with Patu. Vakalahi was slid inside to left guard, not at offensive tackle. The offensive tackle spot's occupied by Miles Hinton out of Michigan, who's a Stanford transfer, who the Eagles drafted in the 6th round. They also took Cameron Williams out of Texas in the 6th round. Holland Pierce, a UDFA out of Rutgers. Drew Kendall, 6th round center from Boston College. And then you see Laiken Vakalahi, who has gone from left tackle to left guard. Maybe the Eagles just wanted to experiment. Maybe they thought they had better options at the tackle spots with Hinton and Williams, who are obviously more seasoned players. And like Mailata, Vakalahi and Patu have no history prior to joining the Eagles playing American football. They just had that rugby background. And I was looking back at our archives. It was almost to the day of the recording of this show that Vakalahi sat down at the NovaCare complex and signed that contract with Philadelphia. And a part of this 90-man roster, we saw him a little bit in preseason last year, clearly raw, has a long way to go, but sometimes player development when it comes to American football just clicks. It did take Jordan Mailata that long to get acclimated with playing in the National Football League. And a pretty cool story, obviously Vakalahi, familiar with Mailata. Here they are in New Orleans in February after the Eagles straight up dominated the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. Vakalahi posing for a picture alongside Mailata. And then to Vakalahi's right is his dad, Frank. He's reached out to me and we've exchanged a couple of emails because a lot of you who watch the show, I've told you this story many times. My dad grew up in Australia, grew up in Melbourne. I still have multiple cousins who live there and a lot of family members who are there, and I've been there multiple times. So, of course, this video, this show, is of interest to me. Now, Carsen Patu is from Gold Coast, Australia. And Australia is a very big continent and country. From east to west, it's about the same distance as America. Obviously, north to south, it's not as big as the United States, but from side to side, it's about as big as the United States of America. So Patu is from Gold Coast, Australia. Jordan Mailata is from Bankstown, Australia, which is just outside of Sydney. That's where the iconic Opera House is. For those of you very familiar with the images of the Opera House, a very well-known architectural building. And then Laiken Vakalahi, he was born in New Zealand, an island just off of the coast of Australia, but then he grew up in the state of Victoria in the popular city Melbourne. That is where a lot of my family members are from. And the Eagles have a ton of Australian connections. They also hold marketing rights in Australia. This is part of the NFL's Global Markets program. And, of course, the Eagles drafted Jordan Mailata in the 7th round of the 2018 NFL Draft. They signed Laiken Vakalahi. For those of you who are familiar with the punter Sav Raka back in the day, he was an Aussie Rules football player. A lot of Aussie Rules football players come to America to either play college football or NFL football because they have unbelievable boots as legs to be punters in the National Football League. And the Eagles have Australian connections for years and years and years. Matt Leo is a player who went to Iowa State, played college football there, and he was on the Eagles roster for a couple of years, and I believe he's still a part of the coaching staff and organization. Some info on the NFL's Global Markets program. It is something that was launched in 2022, long-term strategic initiative granting NFL clubs exclusive marketing rights in specific international markets for at least 5 years. This allows clubs to engage in fan engagement events, marketing campaigns, and commercial opportunities to build their brand and grow their fan base globally. Clubs apply for these rights by submitting proposals to the NFL's International Committee each spring, outlining their plans for activities consistent with their home market strategies. The NFL's Global Markets program allows the Eagles specifically to be active across Australia and New Zealand. The Eagles will partner with the NFL to activate flag football programs, a part of the team's overall international strategy. The Eagles also plan to deploy other events, including watch parties and other football education and fan engagement experiences. As we know, this Eagles brand has become one that is worldwide. It's become an iconic organization. Eagles fans are everywhere, every pocket of America and worldwide. And the Eagles logo, the Eagles brand, has become a very iconic one. And I just know from experience of spending a lot of time in Australia, having family there, that a lot of people down under, mate, they love the Eagles. And part of that is because of this global market program. Part of it is because they had Sav Raka, they have Jordan Mailata, Laiken Vakalahi, and we'll see what happens with Carsen Patu. Now, does this mean that Patu will make the roster? It's important to note this was a tryout. He's not listed on the 90-man on their website right now, but rookie minicamp is only 2 days. So I imagine the Eagles might want to give him an extended look to see what he can do just outside of 2 days of rookie minicamp practice where you're not able to do all that much. But what I think is awesome about this is that the Eagles have sent scouts over to Australia. They've sent members of their organization across the world. The Eagles will do anything and go anywhere to find the best football players for their organization. When Mailata was drafted in 2018, nobody saw that coming. And everybody was like, wait, they drafted a rugby player to be an offensive lineman, and he's ended up being one of the most dominant players in the National Football League. There's also this. Last April, it was announced that the NFL is opening an academy in Australia, and Jordan Mailata is an ambassador for that academy. And this is also going to open on the Gold Coast, where Patu is from, to try to develop some of these international players from Australia. And specifically with Mailata, what a story this has been. He was a 7th-round pick rugby player who had never played American football, taken with the 233rd overall pick in that year's NFL draft. And he needed to add some strength and weight. So he's gotten up to 6'8", 365 pounds. He becomes a Super Bowl 59 champion. He's played in 2 Super Bowls. Obviously, the Super Bowl as a game has a worldwide reach. A lot of people rooting on the Eagles from Australia in those 2 Super Bowls because Mailata's on the squad. 2nd team NFL All-Pro in 2024. It's not like he's on a roster bubble. He's one of the best offensive linemen in the league, and he's been incredible for the Eagles culture. Jordan Mailata is also an Eagles team captain, and in 2024, he was legitimately, literally, one of the best offensive tackles in the sport. Again, just started playing football in 2018. It's only 2025. Overall PFF grade of 95.8. First among 140 players who were registered at offensive tackle. Pass blocking grade, 91.7. Second. Run blocking grade, 94.9. That too was first. When he's getting out in space on a pull block at 365 pounds, at damn near 7 feet tall, the seas depart. DBs are like, yo, I'm getting out of the way. I don't need to be in the way of that Mack truck. 0 hits allowed of Jalen Hurts, and that all came on 798 snaps at that left tackle spot. Legitimately, Jordan Mailata, one of the greatest player developmental stories in the history of the National Football League, considering how great he's gotten in such a short amount of time after having never played football. And so clearly, with Patu getting this rookie minicamp tryout, the skill set, the athleticism, the body type is there to mold something off of, and we'll see if Patu or Vakalahi can be the next great Australian NFL player. Matt Leo, as I mentioned, another player from Australia by way of Adelaide, different part of the country. Sav Raka was from Melbourne. He punted for the Eagles from 2007 to 2010, and he was a unique player at his build because oftentimes punters can be a little bit small. Sav Raka, when he was playing in the NFL, 6'5", 265 pounds as a punter. And he was an awesome AFL player Aussie Rules, Australian Football League is what that stands for. So, good stuff. Carsen Patu, we'll see if he can develop into a player for the Birds. And hopefully that gets more Eagles fans down there in Australia rooting on Philly. Get your Eagles jerseys today. I saw Vakalahi's dad. He had the Vakalahi jersey, the number 67. Maybe Patu will have a jersey someday. But get them today. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. You can get current players who are on this roster as it stands right now. You can get some legendary Eagles players, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Cooper DeJean, Midnight Green, White, Kelly Green, all types of jerseys available. Men, women, kids, you can all get your jerseys. Just use that link down below so that Fanatics knows that Eagles Now and Chat Sports sent you. And, of course, before we sign off, since we're reaching out to Australia, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.